Hello, and thank you so much for joining me and Beth Campbell. My name is Allison Zmuda, and I am just so enamored to spend a little bit of time with Beth Campbell, a fearless and powerful teacher librarian for over 30 years. And Beth and I actually first met many moons ago in a conference that I was doing in Iowa. And she walked up to the front of the room and started to spark into a beautiful conversation around personal learning and what it looks like in the library and how it's playing out in her school. And since then, we've been fast friends on Twitter. She's written a couple of blog posts for me over the years. So Beth, welcome to the conversation. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for this conversation this morning. I'm super excited.
Well, the first area that I would love for you, Beth, to talk a little bit more about is the idea of a help desk, what that looks like in the library that you're currently in, and how you're using this as a sort of an act of co-creation with your students.
Great. I love the idea of that a library is, we actually don't even call it a library, we call it a learning lab. Because it's interactive, there's always stuff happening in here. It is not a static place, but it's fluid. But at the very core of that, we have to have a common belief where we all come together, students and staff together. And for us, we wrap that in the idea of being a culture of readers. It's not a thing, it's not a program, there's not a book on it, but there's a belief that there's magic that actually happens when we all believe in the power of reading and ideas, and we talk about that and we share that. So wrapped in all of that was the idea of a help desk. And I've had a help desk idea for a very long time. And coming from some tech pieces in my world and innovation tech, in my brain, I thought, we're gonna have this really awesome presence in the real world, and we're going to have our students giving advice to students from across the world. It'll be so, so powerful. But here's the real magic. When we met with students and we actually listened to their ideas, they wanted to impact the students in this building right here. Mm-hmm. And so by listening to what they had to say, it took a whole different direction. And the help desk actually became an opportunity where our fifth graders, and we met multiple times. We structured it so that we set them up for success, but we would listen to what they wanted to do, how they wanted to impact our young people. And it has to be one of the most powerful experiences I've ever had in 39 years.
So it's interesting, Beth. I know there's an Animoto link that will be included in the conversation. But I also think it's interesting to see the moments or snippets for what kinds of things are your fifth grade students doing in the Learning Hub.
Well, they would come together and just for a little background, what we actually did is we took our fifth grade classrooms, and I worked with our two fifth grade teachers, and we actually divided up the students. We did a Google survey on what they would like to do, how they would like to impact our community here. So my group was the help desk group. So when we met with them, we talked about what are our kindergarten, our first grade, our second grade students currently doing? What are some strengths? What are some areas where we would like to impact? And we actually landed on what we call everybody books. We're a brand new school here, and we had a lot of awesome everybody books that hadn't been checked out. So we actually started by having our fifth graders, we spent several sessions just looking at those everybody books that they loved and listening to them, what impacted them, what they remembered from a mom or a dad or a grandma or grandpa reading to them. And then that transferred into what did they think our primary students should have access to, and have that same ability to transfer that love of a great story when you're 5 or 6 or 7 to when you're older, which then it ties all back to our culture of readers, because when I love to read, I connect not only the words that I'm reading and the comprehension, but I connect it right here. Yeah. It's that passion piece. It's that it speaks to me. It's alive for me. It matters to me. I loved watching your interview with Chris Emden last one, and he talks about that passion, and school can't be in a vacuum, and we have to have those authentic, real experiences. And so that's what happened. It was these fifth graders saying, we love these books. We want to share these books. And so we structured ways, and it varied by kindergarten, first, second, how we were going to share that, how we were going to connect that head-heart piece. And then the help desk was kind of born based on individual grade level and what the fifth graders wanted to do.
Yeah. And I love the idea of the connection of the head and the heart. And especially as we're starting to grow a culture of readers, we're focusing on reading comprehension, but we're also very much focusing on the passion and the real connection that comes through books and the sharing of books. So the last question I have for you is the idea of reflection. As students began to work their way through setting up and sort of staffing this help desk, what are the kinds of ahas or insights the students had along the way to help grow the program?
And I do want to just point out again, by listening to students, because I can sometimes think after a lot of teaching that I have a lot of the answers. I actually don't. But it was through the students, when we reflected, I really saw the power of listening to them, because that's a step, that reflection step can often get missed for whatever reason, time or whatever. But we had intentional time, actually took them into a conference room. So they all sat in conference chairs. They felt like their voice mattered. We scripted everything they said on a big whiteboard. We looked for commonalities of what they were saying again. So all of their voices mattered, because each of their perspectives, as they had worked with individual students, was different. But they said things like, you have to respond to each individual differently. It takes time to work with people. You have to be present in the moment. And so all of those reflections were like, I couldn't have planned that. I couldn't have scripted that. They were spot on. You want to talk about social emotional competencies that are woven in all of this work.
Yeah.
My heart was just like on fire for appreciation for them. And they're fifth graders, and they're so smart and intuitive. And we have to give them those real meaningful, authentic opportunities. We have to do school different. It just has to be different for their sakes.
Well, Beth, thank you so much. And one of the immediate takeaways not only is the powerful practice in your library in Iowa, but also the transformative practice that can happen across the nation in that regard. Everyone has an opportunity to sort of think about and imagine a help desk, but also continuing to step back and listen to the voices of students and have them co-create that experience with you, and the importance and the significance of reflection. So thanks so much, Beth, for sharing a little bit about this. And for more information, we'll add the Inamoto link down below. It was a privilege spending time with you. Thank you.
Thank you so very much. Have a great day.